do not buy Ghana used cars, because most of the people selling the Ghana used cars, they have issues with it that keeps surfacing, and they want to get rid of the car and buy a new one.
Many years ago, it was considered a luxury to own a car in Ghana. But in the past few years, it has become more of a necessity because of the rate of public transportation and the depreciation of the cedi, even the cost of fuel. Many car dealers have complained about the drop in sales of their cars. On BizTech today, let's explore what sellers are going through in order to be able to sell their cars and whether people are even patronizing cars. My name is Stella J. Jomsogli for BizTech on Ghanaweb TV. Come with me. Hi Bennett, so today we want to talk about cars and the current state of buying cars in Ghana, and even from the point of view of a seller. So I understand that you import the cars that you sell over here, and in the past few years that the dollar has actually, the cedi has fluctuated against the dollar so many times to the extent that now a dollar is going for about 16 cedis. What has been the main challenge?
Well, there have been a lot of challenges. I mean, the prices of the car doesn't change, and because we buy the cars in dollars, we usually sell it in dollars, or we sell it equivalent to the cedi. But I mean, being a seller, I've had a lot of problems with my customers, because when they want to pay me in cedis, they use the bank rates, which is not helping. Yes, and you know, in Ghana now we have two rates. We have the bank rate and we have the abochi or the other, rates. So that's where the problem is. Yes, and the exchanging dollar to cedi is a lot of money. And I mean, that's where we have the confusion most of the times with the customer.
So that brings me to my next question. Since your main challenge has to do with the depreciation of the cedi, why do you think import duties in Ghana have become so high? Is it just because the dollar rates keep increasing?
Well, yes, I think the answer is yes, because as I said, I buy the car in dollars, and when you are paying the duties of the car, they look at how much you buy it and they will raise the way bill for you. So now, assuming you are buying the car and the duties may be $10, when you are going to pay the duty, obviously you have to pay it in dollar. So they'll give you the rate equivalent to the dollar for you to pay. So now that the rate is 16 cedis, imagine the duty is $10. You are going to pay 160 cedis for the duty. Yes, so that is the problem. But as I said, because I buy the car in dollar, everything that I do on the car or with the car or about the car, I do it in dollar. Yes.
So have you received any form of justification from the government as to why the import duties have become high? Because when you break them down, there are certain components that I'm not sure every car dealer or everyone who imports is okay with. Is that true?
I mean, there are a lot of taxes, yes, regarding the duties we paid. And when you look on the custom declaration, everything has been broken down on the paper. So, I mean, the government hasn't said anything to us yet about what we heard.
No justification whatsoever.
No. I mean, the agents or the custom officers should have told us something, but nothing has been said to us. So we are just there. But then again, as I said, because I do most of the things in dollars, it doesn't really affect me that much, because the rates, if I'm importing the car in dollars and I'm selling in dollar, it doesn't cause too much of a problem. But from the supplier to the customer is where the problem comes most of the times. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this practical math. Let's say that you bought the car for maybe $10,000. When you were buying that car, you had to change Ghana cedis to dollars to buy your car, right? And at the time, maybe the cedi was 10 cedis. So the car that cost $10,000, you got it for 100,000. When you come and you sell it with the rate at which the cedi is depreciating, maybe the next time you go, let's not even go far, it's 12 cedis. That's 120,000 Ghana cedis before you get the same $10,000 car. How do you manage that? Where do you get that extra 20,000 from?
Okay, that's what I said earlier. I sell the car in dollars. I don't sell it in cedis. So when a customer comes to me and wants to buy a car, as you said, assuming the car is $10,000, all right, I'll tell you the car is $10,000, equivalent to the rate at the time the customer wants to buy it. So as soon as the customer buys it at the rate, I have to go and change the cedi to dollar and keep the dollar to buy. So that's what we do.
So what basically goes into the pricing of your cars?
I mean, the duties and the taxes involved goes into the pricing of the car.
So you bought the car at 10,000 Ghana cedis. You pay duties of maybe 2,000 Ghana cedis, taxes about 10,000, 8,000 cedis.
Now the taxes are about 25. I'm not too sure, but I mean the taxes are a bit high now.
About 25%.
Yes.
Wow. Okay, that goes about 13,000. Then you add your profit.
Small profit, I mean, and other utilities that the office uses. But one thing is assured, when you buy a car from a dealership, I mean, when there's a problem, you could go back to the dealership to help you solve the problem. So this is one thing we also do. Yeah.
So I've heard from the perspective of a seller. Now, what are some of the concerns that buyers bring? Because I'm sure when they come to buy cars, you have conversations. Maybe they ask for advice as to what choices they should make.
Yeah. I mean, we get that a lot. And as I said, these cars are not cheap. Imagine pricing your cars in dollars for them to buy. So when they come, they want to know the warranty on the car, I mean the fuel consumption, our roads, I mean other basic stuff that will help them to keep their car for a very long time. Yeah, so they put all these things into consideration. And again, they would also consider the pricing of the car. Yeah, so sometimes, mostly now is the pricing of the cars. That depends, or that determines whether the customer will buy the car or not. And now the car market is really big. So, I mean, they would scout. I mean, they will go to other showrooms to check the prices and see who is giving them a good offer. But then again, with the cars too, we have specs. So sometimes they look the same, but they are slightly different. Yeah, so if you don't also know these things, I mean, they will give you something you don't really want.
So, since it's in dollars, for you as a seller, things may not have really changed. But for me as a buyer, if the cedi has increased to 16 cedis now, it means that a car that used to cost $10,000 will now be costing $160,000 instead of maybe 10,000 Ghana cedis if the cedi had not depreciated. So is that affecting their behavior towards purchasing? How are sales going basically?
Well, this is affecting both the customer and the seller, because I cannot reduce the car to what you want. And now if you have the cedi, you'd have to find more cedi to meet the demands of the dollar. So usually somebody will come and say, oh, I asked of this car last year and it was $10,000 and now it's still $10,000. Okay, how much is it in cedis? You just calculate, so, oh, I still need extra to top up. Oh, wow, then I can't buy the car. So because of the cedi depreciation and other things, I mean, sales are a bit slow now. And looking at the current situation of the economy and the elections and everything coming up, I mean, a lot of people are also holding on to their monies. They wouldn't want to risk it for anything. Okay. Yeah.
So let's say I want a car. Yeah. What are some of the? I'm not looking for luxury. I just want something that can take me and bring me back. Looking at fuel prices too, I want to be able to maintain a certain type of lifestyle. When I come here, what are some of the alternatives that you may give me with their prices?
Well, I think it depends on who is buying the car and what the purpose of the car is going to serve. So if you walk in, I mean, before anybody walks into the garage, they know what they already want, honestly. But if the person doesn't know what they want, we first of all ask them of their budget and how much, their budget and what they are going to use their car for. So, I mean, this would come into consideration and then we factor one or two things. That's it.
Okay, so let's go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll look at some of the alternatives that are available for all types of people, the low income earner and average income earner, and anyone who just wants a car because it's nice. Me like this, I like a Land Cruiser, so I'm about to find out. We'll be right back. So welcome back from the break. Before the break, I was asking about alternatives for different kinds of people. So when I walk in as I'm rich. When I walk in as someone who wants to buy a luxury car, what advice would you give me, and what are some of the alternatives that I could actually explore?
Okay, when it comes to advising someone on buying a car, I don't do much because the brand new cars are quite expensive. And as I said, before anybody will come in here to ask of a car, most of them have done their background researches. It's only left for me to explain or go into details the type of cars and the specs I have for them to decide on. So I think with this explanation or with this briefing, the customer would know what they really want. It being the fully loaded, the basic model, or the full option. Yes.
So what are some of that? I know that I have to look at the fuel capacity, the engine's durability. I don't want to be going for maintenance every 1 week or every 2 weeks. If I live in an area that has potholes, I have to use a car that is strong. So what are some of the car models that can suit that taste that I have?
Well, I deal with mostly brand new cars, and then brand new engines do not cause these problems. But then again, a car is a machine. Anything can happen to it. So what I think, if you have the money to buy a car, you should constantly do your services or your servicing, which will determine the state of the car. Because when you take the car to the service center, they'll make sure they'll check your tires, alignment, and certain things to make sure the car is fine. So if you want to buy a car, there are a lot to look out for, but then again, there's a little to look out for, depending on how you care for the car and maintain the car. Cars are also like babies. Depending on how you care for the car, that is the outcome they will give you.
Okay, so this is a personal question for you, not because you sell luxury cars. In your opinion, do you think buying a second-hand car or a brand new car, between the two, which one do you think is better? Because we want to save money, we want to be okay.
The economy is not smiling, and even the second-hand cars are not cheap either. They are not cheap either, but as I said, looking into our pockets, everybody should afford, buy what they can afford.
So you don't give any?
Oh, I can't say much. A lot of people are driving new cars, and there are a lot of people also driving second-hand cars. But I would advise, don't buy Ghana used cars. Do not buy Ghana used cars. Because most of the people selling the Ghana used cars, they have issues with it that keeps surfacing, and they want to get rid of the car and buy a new one. So they will just push it to someone else, top up and buy a new car. But with the home use and the brand new cars, mostly you don't have a lot of issues to deal with. And if you want to buy a car and you want to be sure of the car that you are buying, I think you should get an expert to also inspect the engines and a few things for you before you buy the car. But with the brand new cars, you don't really have problems, because when you are buying a car from a dealership, the major thing is the warranty they give you on the car. And if the car is going to give you any issue, it's going to come from either the gearbox or the engine. So they'll give you maybe a 5-year warranty on the engine and gearbox. Yeah, so that's it.
So I think that would be about it. But you mentioned that a major challenge that you have as a car dealer is the import duties, the taxes that you have to pay and how the CD's behavior is currently. Do you have anything that you want to tell the people in charge, maybe GRA, government?
Oh, I mean, I can't say much, but if they can help strengthen the cedi and then give us a flat rate for the cedi to dollar, I think it would help us a lot. I mean, at least when we know that a dollar is maybe 10 cedi, a dollar is 7 cedi, at least we know this is what we are going for, this is what we are paying for, this is the outcome. Yeah, I mean, a flat rate. We don't want the situation whereby the dollar keeps going up and coming down, it's not stable. I mean, this is where we get the challenges from, because the customer, sometimes you'd have to give the car to a customer on credit, or they'll pay parts and then the other parts will have to be spread within a period of time. And then when you spread it for them and the dollar is going up, they'll be like, oh, when I bought the car, the dollar was maybe 5 cedis, now it's 8 cedis. How do you expect me to get the 3 cedi? And I cannot do anything about it, because I am importing or buying my things with dollar. So if the customer comes and cries like this, I mean, it's a problem, because they have not even budgeted for that. But if it's a flat rate, he knows that even in the next 3 months, in the next 4 months, it's 10 cedi, it's 7 cedi. They will make, I mean, their money is available and come and pay. But if the dollar keeps going up, then again, there's a big problem.
My key takeaway from today's conversation has been that the dollar is not our problem as Ghanaians. It is the cedi that keeps depreciating against the dollar, making the prices of cars way more expensive than they should be. So if something is done about the cedi, the dollar can also stay stable and people can actually be able to afford cars in Ghana. Also, never forget to do your checks and balances properly before acquiring a Ghana-made car. That'll be all for BizTech on Ghanaweb TV. My name is Stella Jejom Sigli. See you in another episode.